Hi everyone. In the previous video, we were looking at compound assignment operators. So now we're going to look into comparison operators. And I'm getting a lot of ideas even before having gone through this. Does it return a value? Does it not return a value? Are they unary operators? Are they binary operators? Are they ternary operators? What kind of operators are they? Those are some of the things that are coming into my mind before we even go far. But let us learn about them and see what they are. So I'm just gonna take some notes here. I'm gonna call them compound comparison operators. Okay, cool. So if suppose the following comparison operators, well, what are these comparison operators essentially? So what are comparison operators? They allow us to compare values. I think it's really that simple. Is 1 greater than 2? Is 1 equal to 1? That's pretty much the comparison operators that we can think about. And obviously they yield a true or a false. Those are some of the things that we see about them. So the comparison operators return a value, and the value is true or false. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 comparison operators here that they're introducing us to. So we have the equal to, we have the not equal to, we have the greater than, we have the less than, we have the greater than or equal to. Now, when it gets here, it becomes a little bit interesting because it's almost as if there's two comparison operators in one. And that is, one of them needs to yield true, needs to be true. Okay. Well, we do know, let me start it this way. We do know that comparison operators return a value and that the value that they return is Boolean, either true or false, right? And so with these greater or equal to, if A is greater than B, it's going to return a true. Or if A is equal to B, it's going to return a true. So instead of writing A is equal to B or A is equal, okay, let me just do it this way. I think with comparison operators, let me start here. Instead of writing, because initially we would have something like A is equal to B. Normally this is an OR in, I don't know if it's an OR here as well. Let's test it out and see. 1 is greater, 1 is equal to 1, that's true, right? Or 1 is greater than 0, that's true. So let's see what happens if we run this. We should get it true. Okay, we got it true. So there's an OR there. These two pipes here mean an OR. So this statement is equivalent to this statement. Yeah, this statement is equivalent to this statement. Instead of using this 1. So I guess we can cut down a lot of things because essentially, okay, but then what did they say? Oh, it's not a prefix. That's because I needed to put a space here. Okay, let's see. It's also going to yield to true. So these statements are pretty much equivalent in a way. I think that's what we're learning there. Less than or equal to. Swift also provides two identical operators. Swift also provides two identity operators. Interesting. Identity operators. So what are these identity operators? Because obviously I know we don't find identity operators in C++. This sign, it doesn't exist. Is 1. What? I know it's going to return a true. Argument type int expected. So which means this doesn't work with literals, if I'm being correct. But then we need to have, if I say var number, which is an int, is equal to 1, and then I put number here, it should work, because what we're saying is that number is identical to 1. But then now, why doesn't it work here? Does it need me to typecast it first? Var number 2, which is an integer, is equal to 1. Now it shouldn't give me a problem. Okay, let's see what the problem is. Argument int expected to be an instance of class or type. Argument int expected to be an instance. Okay, let's learn more about this. Okay. Swift also provides two identity operators, which you use to test whether two objects both reference to the same object instance. Okay, now I see that. So which means if this is the case, that means we do have pointers in Swift, because that's what we're learning here. Okay, let me do this then, because let me do this. Var, okay, base number, I'm just gonna call this the base number, and I'm gonna say number 1, and then I'm gonna say int base number. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but we shall see. Base number. But then they do not refer to the same variable. That's what we're seeing here. They are assigned to base number. Now, how do we refer? How do we reference, rather, to the same variable? Both reference to the same object instance. For more information, see identity operators. So now we're going to need to look into this. Is it a basic structs and class? Wow, the inside structs and class. So we have a while to go, because we on the basic operators. We need to go to basic string collections, control flow functions, closures, and then get here. That's when we'll understand what these things mean. So I guess for now they're above scope, so we're gonna hold on a bit with them and continue with comparison operators. Each of the comparison operators returns a bool value to indicate whether or not the statement is true. So that's one of the things that we see here. These things return a true, like they do return a value. I think that's the first thing that we talked about there. Now, are they unary or are they ternary operators? As far as I see, it appears that they are binary operators. That's what I can see so far, as far as I can tell. They are binary operators. Comparison operators are often used in conditional statements, such as if statement. If let name is equal to world. If name is equal to world, print hello. Else, I'm sorry, name did not exist. Okay, as I'm thinking about this, I know with equal to, we're comparing values within instances. But then here, I think here we're comparing instances themselves. Are they the same instance? I think that's what we're doing here. Comparison operators are often used in conditional statements, such as the if statement. For more information about if statements, see control flow. Okay, you can compare two tuples if they have the same type and the same number of values. Okay, we talked about tuples before. Now the thing is that if they have the same type and they have the same number of values, then they are comparable. from left to right, one value at a time until the comparison finds two values that are equal. Those two values are compared, and the results of that comparison determines the overall result of the tuple comparison. If the elements are equal, then the tuple themselves are equal. For example, okay, so equal to dog, but then these ones are not the same. In the example above, you can see the left to right comparison behavior of the first line, because 1 is less than 21. One zebra is considered less than 2 apple, regardless of any other values in the tuples. It doesn't matter that zebra isn't less than an apple, because the comparison is already determined by the tuple's first element. But the tuple's first, however, when the tuple's first elements are the same, the second elements are compared. This is what happens to the second and third line. Okay, I'm beginning to understand this a bit. Tuples can be compared with a given operator only if the operator can be applied to each value in the respective tuples. Okay, for example, as demonstrated in the code below, you can compare two tuples of type. Okay, let's see this. For example, as demonstrated in the code below, you can compare two tuples of type string and int, because both string and int values can be compared using the comparison operator, less than comparison operator. It contrasts two tuples of type string bool. Okay, wait. Because both string and int can be compared. In contrast, two tuples of string type string bool can't be compared with the operator, because the comparison operator can be applied to bool values. I didn't know this. I didn't know that we cannot compare bool values. And it's it's interesting, because true is greater than true. That won't work. You don't give us another true on top, or a false. Okay, the error that applies, that shows is binary operator greater than cannot be compared to. Oh, another thing, it's a binary operator, so it's not a unary operator. So we're right about that. They are binary operators. Binary operator cannot be applied to two bool operands. Okay, fair point, makes sense. So these statements here are gonna yield to false. Wait, they yield to true because there's no what is this, Boolean value. But then the second one yields to false because the comparison operator cannot compare Boolean values. Note, the Swift standard library includes tuple comparison operator for tuples with fewer than 7 elements. To compare tuples with 7 or more elements, you must implement the comparison operators yourself. Interesting. The standard library includes tuple comparison operators for tuples with fewer than 7 elements. Okay, so the more elements we have is the more that we are not able to compare them. I think that's what I'm seeing here. Yep, folks, I hope this was a meaningful lesson, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.